Welcome to Kyle Anthony's UFC Betting Show. I am Kyle Anthony, and welcome to the podcast. Welcome to the prediction show for UFC on ESPN Plus 38, the Korean Zombie versus Brian Ortega. We've got two free plays we're going to talk about on this card, coming off another solid, profitable performance. 2-1 on client plays, including Tabora plus 145. Great showing there for him, got the job done. And then also on the free plays here, gave out Corey Sandhagen to win minus 144, I think is what it was. And also the sprinkle on the two parlays that I had was Sandhagen to win via knockout, plus 270. And as well as will the fight go the distance was a no, which was minus 166. So out of the the 6 plays went 5-1, 2-1 on client plays, 3-0 on the plays that I gave out here. Have 2 plays that I'm going to be giving out today on the main event, and really excited about it. Another card that is, there's so many great cards. We've got a massive one coming up. The next big event could be Gaethje, awesome one that we're all looking forward to. But this is a sneaky card. There's a lot of good fights here, some spots that I do like to place some money on. Got some wagers out there right now. If you want to take a look, go on Wagertalk.com, linked in the description. Take a look. I've got 3 plays up right now, including a 4% play that I have up right now. Looking forward for this card this weekend. So with that all being said, definitely subscribe, like, head kick the bell icon, get involved in all this. Also as well on Twitter, at Kyle Anthony UFC. Definitely subscribe, like, comment, all those great things there. So now with that out of the way, we're going to talk UFC fight. UFC main event for this weekend is between the Korean Zombie and Brian Ortega. And I'm going to stick with calling him the Korean Zombie because he is just a monster. So we're going to go that way with it. Right now you got the line as a minus 188 for the Zombie. You've got plus 152 for Ortega right now. And again, we like to go down 3 fights for each fighter, see what we see if one fighter can expose the other, and if the line makes sense to place a wager. So what we're going to do is first, we're going to talk about the Korean Zombie. And 3 fights ago, he went out there and he fought Yair Rodriguez. Now, this is a fight I'm sure all of you remember, the way this fight ended. And obviously, we're going to touch on that in a minute. But obviously, how the fight took place, what happened for the 5 rounds in this fight, what was going on, who had the advantage. So we're kind of going to get into that right now. So really in that first 2 rounds, when you're taking a look at this fight, you did see Yair had a lot of success. And that's something I think that people don't talk about as much, the way the fight was going, because early Yair definitely was landing nice shots, utilizing the leg kicks, and I think you could really tell how Zombie was kind of a little bit out of sorts. He really wasn't able to really kind of get that movement going. He likes to have some of that pressure. He's a little bit more of a flat-footed kind of guy, but he definitely likes to have the pressure forward, move forward, hard leg kicks, and Yair is so creative with his striking. I mean, the way that he, manipulates some of these leg kicks, these high kicks, these spin kicks, very flashy with his striking. And obviously those are things that we've talked about in other fighters that takes a lot of energy. Any way you look at it, that's a lot of energy that goes into that, especially in a 5-round fight. And he did have success early in that fight. But then going into that 3rd and 4th round is really where you saw that big downturn from Yair. I mean, obviously the whole time there, you've got the Zombie moving forward, looking for the shots, looking to come forward on him. But Yair definitely had slowed down the pace going into that 3rd and 4th rounds. And that is when the volume kicked up. And it's something that you see with Zombie is that the way he moves forward, he is forcing his opponent to actually fire back offense. He's looking for his opponent to fire back offense because it's just going to drain you. And you see the cardio that he has there. I mean, pretty much this whole fight, Zombie was there. I mean, he obviously tired, he took some damage, but he pretty much was, had a good volume throughout that fight. Going into that 4th round, where it really starts to look again, the tides kind of turned there. That first round looked like to be Yair, that 2nd round was kind of close. Then going into that 3rd and 4th round, I would really start heading it all towards Zombie. And even going to that 5th round, and of course that crazy elbow that came out into the end of that 5th round, where it was about a second left, he throws that incredible elbow. But that was an elbow that Yair tried 2 other times prior in that fight. It was early, I think, in that second, and then even that third, he threw that same elbow that landed. So it wasn't even just a lucky shot. It was actually, he was utilizing that prior to landing it. But going in there to that end of that fifth round, you did see what happened. Yair throws that, wild elbow, lands it, drops him, ends the fight there. But the takeaways I think you really take here is that obviously these are two different fighters. You've got Yair, who is completely away from any grappling. He only wants to be staying outside and striking. Very different than you're going to see, obviously, with Ortega. His jiu-jitsu background, and obviously he's a monster when it comes to the grappling game and his ground game. So it's a very different scenario here, but the takeaway really is going to be overall is that, Zombie has the pressure. He's got the power. He's got the move. He's got that forward walk you down. And is that something that really can work on Saturday night? I guess we'll see. But right there in that spot there, you did see that Yair Rodriguez did land a big shot, knockout victory in the fifth round of a fight that Zombie was winning, but goes up there and gets that victory. 2 fights ago, he fought Renato Moicano. And Moicano, I'm high on Moicano. I mean, I think his skill set's great. I think the way that he fights is great. He's very well-rounded. He's got some nice wins under his belt. And this was a fight here you couldn't really get too much off of either, just because of the fact that the fight ended in 58 seconds. And early right away, you did see that, Zombie was landing some nice leg kicks. He was throwing out, kind of almost opening up the top. And it kind of started to get Moicano right away, kind of looking to check the leg kicks, check them, and then the pressure forward came. Big shot landed. Zombie puts him down, gets a knockout victory really quickly, and the ground and pound right away happens. It gets on top of him and gets to finish the fight. Very impressive there. I mean, it does seem, and of course we know how Frankie Edgar as well. We're going to touch on that in a second, but it shows the power. I mean, and even what he did against Yair, once he was able to really kind of get the distance management, then you started to see the damage he was landing and the power that he has, and really even his own durability. In this fight here, you weren't able to see with Moicano, of course, but you did see what he's able to do if he lands the one big shot and what he's able to do and knock you out. So he goes in there and gets the knockout victory in the first round. And then most recently he fought Frankie Edgar. And this was another interesting fight because this is something possibly you could take away a little bit more going into a fight with a grappler. And you've got Frankie Edgar here. And Frankie Edgar here, obviously, former champion, great wrestling game, but now, of course, more towards the end of his career. And Zombie goes in there, and right away in that first round, you did see the big pressure. It was almost interesting to see that how Frankie actually looked to put the pressure on, instead of allowing Zombie to kind of dictate that pace. And early, that's what you saw. You saw him go forward. You saw Frankie throwing a lot of combinations. Zombie was kind of that one shot and backing out. 1-2, backing out, where Frankie kept the pressure on, kept pushing forward. And it was interesting to see even that I think it was about 2 shots that he took, and he was able to kind of, Frankie was looking to level change, and Zombie was able to kind of get out of that. And that's a huge thing. Not that Ortega has the best takedown ability in the game, but the fact that he was able to at least not get the takedown from Frankie definitely says a lot about at least the takedown ability for the Zombie. And then going into later, a little bit further into the round, is that was once he started stuffing a couple of those takedowns, he landed about 2 crisp shots, and then throws a beautiful combination that drops Frankie. He gets on top of him, starts to do some ground and pound, and even, just the way that he manipulated Frankie on the ground too. Frankie, he got on Frankie's back, ended up sprawling him out, laying him out flat with Zombie on his back, really pouring it on there, and Frankie wasn't able to do much from there. He was able to scramble out of it, but took a ton of damage, and from there, he ended up getting up out of the spot, almost an incredible feat because he was half alive at that point, and another big combination dropped him. Frankie gets knocked out in that first round. Says a lot about the way that the Zombie fires shots, the way that he has got that killer instinct. I think that's huge. Just the way that he fights, but the way that he's able to, once he sees a guy hurt, he's able to keep going forward, land a big shot, and look for the finish. Now on the other side, you've got Brian Ortega. Brian Ortega is plus 152. And 3 fights ago, he fought Cub Swanson. Now, this was an interesting fight because, you've got, obviously, you've got the Brazilian, you've got the jiu-jitsu background, Gracie jiu-jitsu background, for Ortega, and can his striking start to really step up a little bit? Can his striking get to that next level? That's the key part in this. Can he actually utilize his striking to look for the level change or look for opportunity to grab your neck or get in tight? That's going to be very important there. So in this spot here, he goes out there, and right away, I thought Ortega's striking looked very good. I mean, I was actually impressed early in that fight of how his striking looked. I think he was very crisp, he felt very comfortable, he looked very relaxed in there, and even the way that Cub was looking to, fire off the big shots, but he didn't want to actually allow himself to get close enough where he could get into a clinch opportunity where that's the shots that Ortega's looking for. But he goes in there into that end of that first round. All you need with your Brian Ortega is a neck. You just leave that neck out, and Ortega, again, looking crisp in the striking. As soon as it got in the clinch, it was quick that he had gotten into a front choke. He was able to kind of just start moving his body to the ground, rolling around, looking to get the finish. It was right away. I mean, the fact that it took one spot, pretty much that whole first round, there was really no opportunity for Ortega to really kind of get that range, get inside, look for the takedown, or whatever it may be. As soon as they were in the clinch, he found it, he grabbed it, brought Cub down to the mat, and the bell saved him, which was thought that would be a big opportunity for Cub to kind of reevaluate. I got to stick and move. I have to stay on the outside. I've got to stick and move. I can't just work in tight and look and allow him to get his hands on me. Going into that second round, again, same kind of thing. This is where Cub said, I have to put the pressure on, but I have to look for the big shot. He actually was really having some success early in that second round, but again, it didn't take much. Up against the cage, Ortega had him, and I mean, a jumping guillotine is one thing, but the fact that, Cub was looking to fight it, he jumps on him, had it locked in, it was a beautiful choke, and Cub ended up tapping standing, which is even more impressive, but ended up getting the choke. Ortega gets the finish, and these are the things that Ortega is able to do. We all know it, obviously, with his background, but this is where, you think you've got it, you think things are okay, you're up against the fence, and he was able to get that guillotine choke. The same situation within that first round, everything was okay. He had the separation, and then he was able to once again get and sink in a choke. So, goes out there, and Ortega gets his second round submission finish. 2 fights ago, he also fought Frankie Edgar, and this was one too where, how is it going to take place? Because Frankie obviously has the wrestling, and will he look to take down Ortega? Will he look to try to bring himself to the strongest suit that Ortega has? And in this spot, it was the pressure from Frankie early. There was a lot of nice pressure from Frankie early. He was looking to, land a big shot, put the pressure on him. And Ortega, again, I thought his striking looked great. I mean, I really was impressed by his striking. I thought that, again, even prior to the knockout, he looked comfortable. He looked relaxed. And it's almost that he's working on it so much that he's believing in his own skill set. He's believing in how he's elevating his striking. You could definitely tell that he's gotten much better. I mean, there was actually a video going around on Twitter the other day where they were showing how Khabib used to strike, way back and, jumping and, jump punching and these awkward, because he just didn't know how to cut that distance to get into his wheelhouse of just grappling and mauling you, and stand-up game was not his thing. Now he's become this well-rounded fighter, and it's almost what Ortega's trying to mimic, really kind of put all together and be well-rounded, not just looking for that finish on the ground to be able to stand and strike. And then this fight, again, looked good. Interesting that Frankie never went for the takedown, but obviously from Ortega's back, he is lethal off his back as he is on top. And goes in there, the striking, and again, a nice combination. I mean, this definitely says a lot, I think, more to the sense of the knockout, where it come from the Zombie, where he was able to kind of go in there and knock him out. And the same thing with Ortega, where Frankie's getting kind of old. I mean, obviously he's a future Hall of Famer, past champion, great credentials, all these amazing things, but this is just the end of his career here. So it was a nice showing for him. He goes out there, throws a nice combination, drops Frankie, puts him out, gets a knockout in that first round. Ortega gets the victory, but it definitely says a little bit about the downturn of Frankie Edgar overall. But he goes there and gets the win. And then most recently was Max Holloway versus Brian Ortega. Now this one was it's very interesting to see how this really all transpires on Saturday night, because this was a fight here where Max Holloway absolutely destroyed Brian Ortega for, I think it was 5 rounds when the doctor stoppage was. I mean, from beginning to end, there was really nothing. It was almost as if, Max was toying with him at a point. Almost like, how much more beating do I have to give this guy? Because, wasn't able to get any level changes, almost didn't even shoot for many of them. That's another thing, too, where I think that just says a lot, again, about the takedown ability of Brian Ortega. Does he have it? Does it have to be these standing chokes in these, situations where he's able to kind of sink something in and bring you down? And obviously, again, his jiu-jitsu is off the charts, but does he have that takedown ability? And that is a massive gap, I think, in a game where a guy has such a great grappling ability. But in this fight, again, he was not able to cut the distance, get Holloway down, keep him down, look to get a submission a sub at any point. Then his striking really deteriorated. And this is going back, I think it was December. It's been, over a year of just no fighting for Ortega. And that's a big thing there, too, where what kind of damage did it cause Ortega from this massive beating that Holloway gave him? I mean, the whole time outpointed him, worked on the outside, used his angles. Ortega was lost, kind of following him everywhere. Max had the rhythm going, set the pace, it landed the big shots. I mean, it was just a completely one-sided victory for Max Holloway. So Brian Ortega gets the loss in that fight. Max Holloway wins by doctor stoppage. So with that all being said, obviously the things that we're going to talk about, you've got, the Korean Zombie, he's got the power, he's got durability. He definitely has that pressure. That's something that is very important that I think is going to be important in this fight. And then you've got Brian Ortega, who has Gracie Jiu-Jitsu, a guy that only needs to grab a limb and can finish you, elevating his striking. I think that's really important, the way he's, elevated his striking. Also very relaxed in the cage, very confident, in his striking ability. And I think his fight IQ is very high. I think he's a smart fighter. I think that really helps him in certain situations. And I think his movement is actually pretty good for a guy that is normally looking to be a grappler and be in that clinch position and look to take you down. But I think the big gap, and we just touched on it a minute ago, is the takedown ability. That's huge. And unless he can really change it, unless he has changed it over the period of time that he has been out, that's just massive. To me. And, there's a lot of other fighters that you've seen that have the great takedown ability, but they can't really keep the guy down, or vice versa. And you've got just such the elite level of Brian Ortega, where he's able to, finish you at any position. And that's going to be a big part of this, I think, that is going to give Korean Zombie a lot of opportunity to go out there and win this fight. Now, I think that, you take a look at the line, minus 188, you've got plus 152 for Ortega. Interesting line there. I think this price is actually pretty good right now for the Korean Zombie. I don't like what I see with Brian Ortega. I think that, he was able to knock out Frankie Edgar. I mean, you've got to give credit, you've got to give him a pat on the back there for finishing Frankie. Big, that's obviously, a big past world champion, all these things. Very end of his career. Cub Swanson, another guy, more at the end of his career here, and he ended up getting a jumping guillotine. Obviously, that is an impressive feat, but also, it's not showing the certain spots where, can he do that to Zombie? Of course he can. But I think that Korean Zombie has the skill set to fend off the takedowns. You saw him do it with Frankie Edgar. You see that he has the power, and if they're going to stand, which I would more put this as a standing fight, I would have to say that you've got to go to Zombie on this one. I just don't see much for Brian Ortega. The layoff, the lack of striking, the lack of takedown ability compared to the striking, the power, and the defensive takedowns of Zombie. I just think the price is good there. I'm betting the Korean Zombie here to go out there, get the victory, minus 188. That's going to be my free play. Now, the other one I was looking at is the method of victory here, and I know last time we hit plus 270 on Corey Sandhagen, but this is a spot here where, you're looking at the two paths here, and you got the decision is plus 380 for the Zombie, and then you've got the knockout is plus 135, plus 140, kind of somewhere in there. I think both of them are great. I think no matter which one you pick here, I think they're both good prices in this spot because, I think those are the two great paths. You're getting plus money on both of them. I think they're really good spots here. But I'm back and forth in both of these. I'll be honest with you, I am back and forth in both of these. And more or less, if you're looking at the knockout side of things and you're kind of going with what's happened, he's knocked out Moicano, he's knocked out Frankie Edgar, he beat up on Rodriguez, but also the part is the durability of Brian Ortega. Brian Ortega absolutely has durability, and you've seen it with Max Holloway, but Max Holloway is next level fighter, and his volume is next level, and a lot of those things change. So for me here, I'm actually going to think it's going to go the distance. I think that I'm going to be doing a little bit of a sprinkle on Korean Zombie to win via decision plus 380. I think a little sprinkle on that at that price, at that massive price, is really worth it. Obviously, the straight play, the larger play is going to be Zombie to win minus 188. And those are my two free plays for UFC on ESPN plus 38. Again, if you want to take a look at my Wagertalk plays, link down in the description. Take a look, 3 plays up for purchase, including a 4% play. So definitely check it out. Like, comment, all those great things. And there you have it. That's the prediction show. We'll see you next time. This is Kyle Anthony's UFC prediction show, and I'll see you next time.